Most definitely. Let me do that right now, as a matter of fact.
Cool. I'm gonna do the same. You should be able to see this chat on the side when people start coming in or whatnot.
Okay, good.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, man. This
sure.
is definitely gonna be fun. You know what I mean?
I'm with it, and it's funny. Before we started communicating on Twitter, I found your YouTube page, and a friend of mine down in Orlando, they kept hitting me up wanting to know about getting into IT, and I was like, look, you got to check this brother's page out. Go look at his videos first, and come holler at me. But you got to watch his videos first.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Dewan here on a Friday night. I got a special guest, Antonio McCarver. He's a CCIE. He just got back from Cisco Live, and he wanted to share his journey on how to become a CCIE in collaboration or just CCIE in general. Either way, it's a grind. It takes work, dedication, and he's going to tell you all about it. And he's going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to go to Cisco Live. What's up, Antonio?
What's happening, Dewan, man? How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's a blessing to have you here today, man. I thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So, where do we begin? I usually like to ask people, about their journey if they started from the bottom and what that was like. So,
yeah, we can do that, man. We can take it all the way from start to finish, man. I've been in this industry for about 24 years. It started when I went to the Marine Corps. I did 5 years in the Marine Corps, and my MOS was a small computer system specialist. And from being in the military, that pretty much meant that we was going to do everything that was network related, from running the cable to doing the network drops to patching things down at the whole nine. We did. So it started there. When I left the military, I ended up working for Banyan Vines. I had a lot of experience being that's the network that we ran in the military. And when I went to work for Banyan, we had just partnered with Microsoft.
okay.
So it was a big push to get Microsoft certified. So, I started out 1998 to 2000, I was strictly Microsoft. CSC, the whole nine. And this is back when, the industry couldn't really tell the difference between a real MCSC and a paper MCSC. So that was, really challenging for me. But let me see. Can I? Okay,
yo,
my headphones on.
Thank you for your service, bro.
Say that again.
I said thank you for your service, bro.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank you for yours as well. Yes, but anyway, I'm gonna fast forward 2000. I kind of got tired of doing the Microsoft thing. It's only so long I'm going to be able to sit on a tech support call about an Exchange server going down before this is back when I had hair. So I was pulling my hair out and I said, I got to make a change. And, I had heard about Cisco from the military, and I followed the blueprint that, I followed with Microsoft. I said, I'm going to go to the bookstore and I'm going to get me a book. And that's how I started my Cisco journey. I got me a CCNA book. Back then, there was no security track. There was no voice track. There was no service provider. There was none of that. It was just route switch. So, I started there. Ended up moving from Detroit to North Carolina, to get a job to actually work in. And I was in a knock.
Okay.
And that's where the journey really began. September 11th of 2000. I started.
Oh,
1 year before the real September 11th. Right. I started at Verizon Business in their knock. And when I started, I knew that, that I wanted to excel, because I took a pay cut leaving from Detroit to come here. So my whole focus was, let me get certified so I can bump my salary up and get back to living comfortably. Because that pay cut was rough on the brother.
Hey man, you had the mindset back then, you know what I mean? Way back in 2000 to do that, because you didn't have the internet, you know what I mean, with this type of information like people do now. So I salute you for having that mindset to make that type of move, bro.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
But so from there, it just became a lot of it. And let me back up for a second. See, now, we got so much stuff that makes studying easier. You have all types of emulations that you can use. Love seeing the family, man. I got 4 daughters, so they my heartbeat. But today you can run a full lab on your laptop.
Right.
So back then when I started, we actually had to go get routers, and I'm talking about the old routers, the 2501s. Yeah. We got 3550 switches in there, or maybe even 2550s back then. And this is back when the CCIE lab was a 2-day lab.
Right.
So this is old school kind of.
Yeah, I heard about that 2-day lab. I heard that mother was a beast.
It was brutal because you probably won't find a proctor to admit this, but we know they used to mess with the lab.
Right.
Lunchtime, you come back and you got cables crimped and unplugged. And the worst part was you had to be invited back for the second day.
Oh man.
So you dropped back then. I think the lab was 12 or 1,300 or 1,400. So you done dropped over $1,000. And you don't even know if you're coming back the next day. That was, that was.
Yeah.
But, and today, there's so many training vendors out now to where access to things to help you to, lab scenarios, not stuff that's on the lab, but like how INE will give you, some workbooks to look at.
Right.
Back then it was internet work expert and IP expert.
Okay.
IP expert has since went out of business. So now, INE was really, they've really been the go-to guys for route switch for, almost 2 decades now.
Okay. When you're saying for going for the CCIE, that's who you want to go to. Okay. That's what's up.
Right. Well, I'm going to drop a little nugget when we get to I can drop it now, but I'll reiterate it later.
Okay.
Cisco.com has a wealth of labs that people just overlook. If you go look at product support page and go to config examples and tech notes. Don't overlook that. Go look at the config examples and lab that stuff up. Look at the FAQs for all of the different technologies. Lab that stuff up.
Man, it's funny you say that, because I totally agree. Most of the topics are on Cisco. Just like the documentation, when you're dealing with an issue, a lot of times TAC will send you, something where you can look it up yourself and study whatever issue may happen. And so when I was going for my CCNP, I didn't really have a lot of lab resources besides like CBT nuggets. So I just looked at the book, whatever Kevin Wallace had on the topic, I configure it in my own lab. And then that's what I would troubleshoot. And to me, that's how you get the most experience, because not only are you troubleshooting it, but you're building it. But man, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get back to it, man.
Hey man, I can talk, you know what I mean? So just jump in, throw some, if you want to ask specific questions about the journey, that's cool too. But so working in a knock, I worked on break fix all day long. That's all I did was, a trouble ticket came in and I had to go in and figure it out. The very first lesson about trying to go to the next level that I learned was you got to make mistakes.
Thanks.
Like, you have to check your ego at the door and say, you know what, there's so much I don't know. Let me make some mistakes in hopes of learning. Don't just make a mistake for the sake of making a mistake. Now, I didn't want to make mistakes. I'll never forget the gravest mistake I ever made. I really, it could have cost me my career.
Right.
but the way I handled it, it was legit. I'm researching a routing issue. I'm working on my CCNP at the time, and I'm working on the routing portion of the CCNP at the time.
Right.
And the routing issue come in. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna investigate this. Before I send it to the higher level engineers, let me get all the information I can, so that when they get it, they can be like, oh, okay, if something coming from Antonio, we know it's legit. He's done his due diligence.
Right.
And I'll never forget, man, I read a document on Cisco.com that said debug IP packet. Never do a debug IP packet.
What the router do, bro?
In milliseconds, the router, it was a hub too, a major site. Everything just went down. All I saw when I looked at the monitoring platform was all red. I was like, "Oh no, what just happened?"
Yeah.
And
you can't even do an up arrow. You can't even do an up arrow at that time.
Nothing. You can't do nothing. Only thing you can do is reset the router. So I'm calling it was at a colo. I'm calling the colo. I'm like, hey, I need you to go reset this router. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. Oh no. He was like, that's the hub. I'm not touching that. I said, bro, listen, this hub is down. All of the traffic is down. Reset that hub. And I got called into the office. I was like, look, this is what I was doing. This is why I did it. Here, and I was able to I was able to articulate why I did what I did.
To justify, right.
Right. And at that moment, especially because no one knew it was me, because I did get him to reload it. So they're investigating it as a power outage. And I'm like, no, time out. This didn't happen because of power. And that's the key moment that my career could have been ended.
Right.
I said, no, that wasn't the power outage. That was me. I was in there. I was investigating this, and this is what happened. And from that moment, of course, I got to talking to like, yo, you never do that again. And I was like, don't worry about it. I won't ever do that again. But I gained so much respect from all my peers and all of the upper echelon engineers that they was like, willing to willing to help me out, and take the time to actually mentor me at that point, because everything that I had done up until that point was all just me, just straight self-study, and and that's the second thing that I learned on this certification journey. Get a mentor.
Yes, sir.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be afraid to reach out to somebody that's where you're trying to go, and see if they'll mentor you, bring something to the table. So, and that's what I did once that happened. I was like, look, whatever y'all need done network-wise, I'll do it. Just teach me. I'll do it. You don't want to work these type of tickets? Great. Send them all to me. I'll work them. I don't care. And that was really how I started to, focus my career when it comes to certifications. Hey, baby, here's a salad too.
That's dope. So at that point, you was working in the NOC, and you was working on your CCNP. So from there, how did you get, while you were in the NOC, did you get your CCNP before you changed positions, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I got my, what happened? No, so I ended up getting moved. So at Verizon Business at the time, there was only 2 levels. First level, where the NOC was, and within first level, you could be a team lead or, one of the senior people. But then the holy grail was second level. That's where we all strive to get to. So I knew the guys up there. Again, I've been working with them. And, I applied for one of the open positions. I didn't get it. One of my buddies got it. But after that, I had him up there as an advocate, telling management like, hey, we really need to bring Antonio off the floor up to second level. Right. So once I got to second level, that's when, I really wanted to prove my worth, so to speak. So I started focusing really heavy on getting my CCNP at that point, which I messed around and let my CCNA expire.
Oh man. So yeah.
So I had to recertify. And bruh, that CCNA back in '01 was the most brutal CCNA I've ever seen. Oh, it
It
was
ain't
ridiculous.
it ain't changed, bro. I don't.
Really?
What has changed though is the amount of resources you have now compared to back then.
Yeah.
Because did you have labs back then, or was it just question and answers?
No, it was questions and answers. It was multiple choice. It was drag and drop. It was simulations, and the simulations never worked. It was known the simulation was just not going to work. It
Right.
is what it is with that. So and it was the thing that made the CCNA a challenge over the CCNP, because once I started going down the CCNP, I found that was easier compared to the CCNA, because the CCNA encompassed everything.
Right.
Whereas the CCNP, I could focus on routing, switching, troubleshooting, and I think there was a fourth test we had to take back then.
Okay.
Yeah. We had, like, I did QoS as because it was 3 requirements and one elective. So
Okay.
QoS became my elective.
So hey man, so you're a beast out here, QoS.
But listen,
What I'm
man,
saying? With the route switch.
route switch was my life and my world for 10 years.
Right.
Well, actually, you know what? Let me back that up. So being at Verizon, especially in second level, we had to know routing, we had to know switching, we had to know voice, we had to know wireless, we had to know security, and we had to know a little bit of Unix. But we also had it was multi-vendor. So I had to know Avaya, I had to know Nortel, I had to know Aruba Wireless, I had to know Juniper. So, if people look at my LinkedIn profile, they'll see I'm Juniper certified. I didn't put none of the. Well, I took off the Nortel stuff, since that's
right. That's gone. Right.
Yeah. If people still got Nortel, they got bigger issues right now. So
I was working on it in 2015, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
you don't even want to know.
the thing about that, though, it gave me experience in other domains, but you had to be a jack of all trades and you couldn't master anything.
Right.
So what kind of in '07 though, I pivoted from being primarily route switch. I handled a lot of the routing problems that came up to us, and
Right.
BGP was my thing. I was like, yo, I'm gonna learn. I didn't want to learn OSPF to that level, and I was like, you know what? I gotta pick something where they like, oh, if this ticket come up, send it to him.
Right.
I wanted to just provide some type of value like that. So BGP was my thing.
Right.
And then in '07, I was going to pivot and start doing security.
Yo, before you go, that's
Mhm.
a boss move. That's a boss move and a nugget that people need to pay attention to. The fact that you found one niche and said, "I'm gonna be the best at that" in your corporation, that makes you valuable and that makes you an asset to be that go-to person for that. So I salute you for that too, bro.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, it was because what I noticed up in second level, you're around a bunch of rock stars.
Right.
You can think that you're a rock star, but I sat directly across from a CCIE. One of my mentors, I kind of missed this guy. His name was Paul. His CCIE number started with 9,000.
Oh my goodness!
So like early. And I'll never forget, Paul kept all these notebooks. And he said, and I asked him, like, Paul, why you got all these notebooks? And he said, Antonio, I have forgotten more in networking than you've probably learned up until this point yet.
Man.
And I had to think about that, like, that's real. That's
facts.
That's real talk right there.
The fact is that he was honest about that too, though.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've learned, and we're going to get into when we talk about live, and even my journey to working at Cisco, the people that are really dope in this industry kind of remind me a lot of you, that they don't mind telling you, what it takes.
Right.
They don't mind sharing the info. They don't mind sharing the knowledge. because I ran into some people that, you know, they had a God complex. You try to ask them a question, you really had to do a rain dance and give them an offering and bow down, and, you know, and that's just not my personality. I couldn't do it.
Right.
So that also played into let me specialize in this one thing, so that I don't have to deal with, you know, some of the other stuff.
Yes, sir.
But I made a choice that I was going to do security in '07. I was going to focus on getting my CCNP security.
Mm.
I think back then it was called the CCSP, actually, the
Okay.
Cisco Certified Security Professional. So I'm telling my manager, because he wanted me to pick a secondary domain. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna do security. He said, okay, yeah, you're gonna do voice. So,
yeah, that's funny.
I was like, oh, no, you misheard me. I said security. He said, oh, okay, that's cool. You're gonna do voice. I said, so, you know, if you're gonna tell me what I'm doing, why'd you ask me what I wanted, what I want to do? And he was like, would you agree that I know all the work that we're going to be getting?
Mm.
I said, yeah. He said, so if I'm saying that I thought I heard you say you was going to do voice, I thought that you knew that we're going to be getting more voice work in, and that's why you said voice. I said, oh, that is why I said voice. Yeah, so yeah, I said voice. I don't know where security came from. I said voice. So I didn't know anything about that part of our business. I didn't know, you know, I just did some of the troubleshooting as it came in. But, you know, from that point, I started doing, you know, I went out and bought every Cisco Press book that I could find on. It wasn't even called Unified Communications back then. It was called IP Communications.
Right.
So I went and, you know, and that's how I started my journey, and started over from there. Started working on what was called the CCVP. It was the Cisco Certified Voice Professional. So now, you know, you got to think that since '07 to now, all of that has changed. It's now the CCNP voice or collaboration, the CCNP data center, the CCNP security,
Right.
when each one, well, data center wasn't even around back then.
Right.
But each one had their own domain, you know, and I started, you know, focusing on, I got my CCIP,
Okay.
which was for the service provider.
Oh man. Okay. That's a lot of BGP, front relay, and all that stuff back then.
ISIS, OSPF,
Okay.
MPLS, and you know, funny story about that. I had a blog, so I was like, you know what, I'm a blog my journey, because I wanted to work on getting my CCIE even back then.
Right.
And I was trying to read the MPLS architectures book, and I kept falling asleep. And it was written by one of the most brilliant engineers in this industry named Ivan Pepeljanik. This guy is astronomically brilliant. And I had wrote on my blog that I only thought I had 2 readers. I thought it was me and a couple of my buddies at work. And I wrote on there that the book was putting me to sleep.
Oh man.
And he commented.
You never know who watching you, man. You never know who checking you out.
That is a nugget. You never know who's watching. And, you know, I tried to clean it up. Like, I think I shouldn't read it at night when I'm tired from working all day, so I'm going to read it in the morning.
Right.
But your work is phenomenal, sir. You know, I tried to clean it up as best I could. But that pretty much is how I started my certification journey. Now, what I learned, though, was that it was going to take more than just being in a break-fix environment for me personally to get to where I needed to go certification-wise, because that left me with a limited view of the big picture.
True. I agree.
So I ended up leaving Verizon and going to work for a Cisco partner. And when I went there, it was design and implementation work.
Now that's what I'm talking about right there. That's the projects, all that. That's what I'm talking about right there, bro. That's what I'm talking about. That's gonna get you paid.
Well, that's not only going to get you paid, but it's also going to start to help you sharpen your axe. Because now what I brought to the table was I had, you know, all these years of troubleshooting experience.
Right.
Now you add in the other piece of that, how to properly design the network,
Right.
how to implement the network,
Yeah.
because all of that is what really helped me to pass my lab, which we gonna step through that.
Yes, sir.
Because you know the way that you look at the way that I suggest someone looks at taking the CCIE is that when you sit down at that computer and you're reading those requirements, don't think about past experiences. Don't think about none of that stuff. What you need to think about is that this is a brand new customer that just gave you a list of requirements of
Right.
how they want their network implemented. So you got to do two things at that point. Implement it how they said that they wanted to implement it, and how are you going to test that you did that? So working at that partner actually gave me that experience. You know, I went through a actual test plan
Right.
of, okay, this is how I verify this, boom. Now Mr. Customer, which was the CCIE proctor sign off saying that I delivered your project like I promised you I would, so I can get paid and get out of here.
Man, hey, so when you were doing that, somebody else would actually go install it, or would you just design it? Did you?
No, I would go install.
Oh man, so you was
So
doing both. So you like had that boots on the ground already from doing the troubleshooting, and now you got that general mentality when you design it and implement it. So you got all the layers right there, bro.
yeah, so and we stepped our way through that. It was going through the detailed design workshops. So you're sitting with the customer and getting their requirements. And as you're gathering their requirements of what they want, because by this time I'm strictly collaboration at this point.
Right.
So, we're typically dealing with people that are either on a PBX or an Avaya system or something like that. So, if they want to move over to Cisco, they want the same functionality that they already have. So
Right.
now I'm like, okay, I need to ask them these questions, boom, boom, boom. And I'm conceptualizing as I'm just having a general conversation. Oh, what happens if somebody dials this number? Okay, it means Susie and Sally. Oh, okay. Well, if neither one of them are there, what happens?
Right.
Just, going through that process.
Fam, before you continue, what you are saying, people really have to understand what's actually being done right here. And when you get into tech, it's a skill that you're going to have to learn, and it's best to learn in the beginning, and that's active listening. Active listening to know what the customer is actually saying. This works at all levels. When you're designing, when you're troubleshooting, whatever's going on, you have to actively listen to their needs, wants, requirements, problems, and then you got to empathize. So, man, hey, you putting out some game right here, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But you're absolutely right. And if you don't have that foundation, you're going to struggle on the lab because you're coming at the lab from a very narrow view, which is your view.
Right.
You're looking at it from, all right, let me just do. And it was strange, man, when I walked in there, so I'm just to be completely honest, I took the voice lab 3 times, failed 3 times. I took the collaboration lab 3 times, but I passed on that 3rd time.
Okay.
But my passing attempt, it was another voice guy there. And it was strange to me that as soon as we sat down, he spent probably a couple of minutes, reading, and this joker just went to town. And I was like, that's one way to do it. It's funny, he didn't pass. He eventually passed, but at that moment, he didn't. It's I could tell that his methodology was strictly about let me just do versus let me conceptualize and let me plan. And we underestimate the amount of planning that it actually takes to be successful in a project.
Man, anything, honestly.
Fact.
Man, man, you putting out so much good information, bro. Man, this what's up, man. I thank you again for coming on, dog.
Oh man, it's nothing. So that's almost up to the point where I actually started taking the lab. So I ended up working at that partner for a year and a half. Uh, I don't work well with people that have God complexes. I have no use for it in my life. I'm a grown man with 4 grown children, so
Right.
I don't need that. Well, they're almost grown. I got 3 of them are grown.
Right.
But
You
so
look good, man. You look
I
good, bro.
appreciate that.
Happy Father's Day. Early Father's
Same to you, brother. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. Excuse me, but I left there and I was able to get to what for me was the holy grail, and that was Cisco
Right.
in advanced services. So my thinking was, okay, I've been able to survive and make good money just having my CCVP, my voice professional.
Right.
But my thinking was, I'm at Cisco in advanced services. I gotta have a CCIE. I'm literally sitting around when I worked in the office, because I worked in the office for 3 months. I'm literally sitting around people that wrote the Cisco press books that I was reading.
That's
QoS,
crazy.
I'm sitting across from the dude that wrote the QoS book, and I'm looking at him like, wow. And, at Cisco, when you pass your IE or when you have an IE, you get a CCIE sticker to put on your badge. And I remember, bumped into this fella, Brian, in the break room, and I'm looking, and I see 6 stickers,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm like, yo. So my initial thought was, yo, if I don't pass a CCIE when layoffs come, I'm out of here. So let's be all the way real with you. So me and my man, a guy that started the same day I started, he ended up being my best friend. But we was like, yo, we gotta get our CCIE. We're in advanced services without a CCIE. That don't look good.
Right.
So and this is where we can really start talking about the nugget on how you do it.
Okay.
We decided that we made a commitment. We made a commitment to ourselves. We made a commitment to our team, our management, and we made a commitment to each other that, yo, we want to do this. So we set out. At Cisco, it's equipment everywhere. So we started gathering up equipment, built labs at home, with racks at home, and we had to use one particular product that Cisco really endorsed. I think that's a safe way to put it. It wasn't. I couldn't vibe with it.
Right.
It was a great product that people used that they could pass with Cisco 360.
Okay.
Nothing against them. We were forced to use that, and it didn't help me with the way that I learned.
Man.
So nugget number 1, you
Right.
have to know how you learn.
Yes. Facts. That's so important.
Mm-hmm. After you figure out how you learn, you have to be honest with yourself about what you don't know. So that goes to something I heard you say, which is go to cisco.com and go get the blueprint printed out and then look at the blueprint. And which is what you have to do. If you want to become a CCIE, you need to look at that blueprint, and you need to be very honest with yourself about, do I know this piece? Do I know this piece? Do I know this piece? And what you don't know, learn.
Right.
Learn it the way that you know how to do it. I mean, that you know how to make it applicable to you, whether that be watching videos on it, whether that be labbing it up, or whether that just be reading about it. Some people are smarter, way smarter than me, and they can just read something and be able to know how it works and know all about it. I'm not like that.
Right.
I have to hear it. Then I have to do it over and over. And then I have to break it. Right. Then I have to fix it. So know how you learn. Be honest about what you don't know.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
With you being in the game as long as I have, when I first started learning tech, the OSI model and all this stuff, it was heavily stressed the RFCs. Do you that it's not like that anymore? But do you recommend people start to really read RFCs when they're going for the CCIE?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely, without question. I did the same thing because I mean the blueprint that was given to you is the same blueprint that was given to me by the people that done it before me, which
Right.
was read the RFCs. Because again, remember what I said about how MCSCs was looked at back in the day. Were
Right.
you a real MCSC or a paper MCSC? Well, some of the same things started to happen with the CCIE. Are you a real CCIE or are you a paper CCIE? And part of the difference is a real CCIE they know how to go deep.
Right.
They know how to, they know. That's why they changed the test and have a diagnostic portion on there now.
Hmm.
And a troubleshooting portion on there now, because can you go deep? And on the collaboration side, everything is SIP related out here. But how can you be a CCIE? No, forget CCIE. How can you be proficient at what you do if you don't know it?
Facts.
So I had to read those SIP RFCs to know about the SIP messaging and start to dig deeper, especially if I ever had to troubleshoot it. Or how do you know how it's supposed to work?
Right.
Because the Cisco Press books are designed to help you pass a particular exam. That's why they have a CCNA study guide, a routing study guide, and things of that nature. So you gotta dig deep and you gotta read the RFC. I mean, you can do it without it. Clearly, people do it every day.
Right.
But in my opinion, I mean, for me, I had to do it.
Right.
And I would tell anybody that came to me for some one-on-one help, yo, read this,
Right.
understand that. And I have been able to help a couple of people pass their CCIE. A fellow that I work with, a very sharp young man. He allowed me, he gave me the opportunity and the privilege to mentor him. And, he went out and slayed that dragon. So, I know that my methodology works. I mean, I failed enough to know the right
Facts.
way to do it.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing more disheartening than getting that email. And then you look at it and you log in and you click that link and you're like, dang, that was one expensive ass lunch. That's the only way that you could look at it. You done dropped all that money and the only thing you got out of it was, the experience and the lunch.
Right. Cool. So
But
number one is know how you learn.
well, no. Number one is make the commitment.
Make the commitment. Okay. Make the commitment. Okay.
And I don't want people to underestimate that because people say they want it.
Right.
At live, I talked to some people that wanted it. They saw the ribbon and was like, oh, I want to do that. So as I talked to them, I heard so many excuses. And I'm like, yo, you got to commit to it. When I passed, I was going through a divorce.
Right.
I was working 60 hours a week. And I was a single parent at the time. My wife had left.
Right.
So at the time that I passed, my life was mad stressful.
Right.
Just working 60 hours a week. I mean, like, think about I got put on one of the largest projects from a Cisco Unity connection standpoint to migrate 250,000 mailboxes. And for a large international bank.
I know that was stressful.
Stressful. Because as the lead on this project, if something didn't work, it was me that had to be on those calls.
Right.
So, when I hear people say, I don't have time, it's like, okay, there's 168 hours in a week. What you mean you don't have time?
Man, you broke it down for real. you broke it down for real. If you want it bad enough.
You want it bad enough. And so if it's 168 hours in a week and you work 40 hours, there's 128 hours left in that week. Okay, you got to sleep. Okay, if you sleep 8 hours a day, what's that? That's eight. That's another 40 hours, right? Okay, so that 128 minus the 40, now you got 88 hours left. in that week.
Right.
Okay, you got to spend some family time. So that brings me to point number 3. So number 1, get committed.
Committed. Yes, sir.
Number 2, know how you learn.
Okay. Okay.
Number 3, create a schedule.
Okay. Okay.
Create a schedule and stick to it. If you don't stick to your schedule, it becomes easier to quit. It becomes easier to give up. You know, I created a schedule even with my crazy work schedule and my crazy personal life. I created a schedule. You know, fortunately, I'm able to work from home.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna study throughout the day while I'm on conference calls. If they're not directly talking to me or involving me, I'm labbing. I'm making phone calls, all that stuff. And at 7 o'clock, well, from 5 to 7:30, that was just family time. That was just time for me to talk to my daughters, cook, do whatever I needed to do. Because at 8 o'clock, from 8 to 12 every night, I'm gonna lab some more. And in that lab, I broke it down even more. At the last 30 minutes of my lab time, I'm going to work on this one particular thing and for the rest of eternity. And that was for collaboration people that was working on CME, which is all CLI based stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for the last 30 minutes, that's what I would do. So that was Monday through Thursday. I took Fridays off. I didn't do, I would lab during the day, but I didn't do any labbing at night.
Right.
Saturday morning, I'm back on the grind. My kids probably didn't want to do nothing until that afternoon anyway. So I got up at 7 and I labbed until 3.
Right.
Sundays, didn't do anything. So you can make it happen. You just got to commit to it. You know, when they did want to do stuff, go to the mall or whatever, I'll sit in the food court and bring my laptop with me and I'll just bang stuff out in Notepad,
Right.
Or on my phone, bang stuff out in notes on my phone. I would make audible notes because again, I learn by hearing. And what voice is better to listen to than your own voice?
Facts.
You already know it, you already trust it. So, I would read into my phone and then play it back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that one. I like that, bro. That's another nugget too. Yes, sir.
So what all of that did was build a foundation. The first few months of my studying was really truly all foundational based studying. It was reading the books. I wish I could show you all of the Cisco Press books in my library upstairs. It was legitimately reading, taking notes. If you can teach it, then you know it.
Facts.
And that was my goal. I would try to create my notes in such a way that my goal actually was I was going to take my notes in my notebook and resell it.
Right. Right.
But I was like, man, F that. I ain't got time to go through all that. And I didn't know if there would be a conflict of interest with me working for Cisco and all of that. So I was just like, I deaded that idea, but I kept doing it though, like, taking my notes. I use a program on my laptop called Evernote, and it made it easy for me to share my notes with my study partner,
Yeah.
which is point number 4. Get you a study partner. Period. Find somebody, preferably in your time zone, that can help you study. And what I mean by help you study is iron sharpens iron.
Facts.
So as me and my buddy Mike was studying, we both work from home. We had some days I go to his house and we'll use his lab and we're trying to bang out scenarios that we done came up with off of, like I said, config examples and tech notes on Cisco.com. We're literally labbing that stuff up and together. And I may do it this way, and he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, why'd you do it the way you did?"
Right.
So we trying to figure because most things can be done multiple ways anyway.
Right.
Well, I like doing it this way. The way that he did his down plan is totally different from the way I did my down plan. He's a very methodical person. He got to have, calling search spaces for everything and all that. I'm like, bruh, we got 6 phones. Doing everything in the none partition. What is you talking about? I'm not doing any of what you're doing. And we legitimately had different, we would argue about that, but it was still helpful because, again, iron sharpens iron.
Right.
So you gotta get you a study partner, and really focus on not what you can get, but what you can give.
Man, that's life. That's
Right.
That's a life nugget right there, bro.
Right. And that's how I approached it. And he went on to pass first. And that motivated me even more
Right.
because like, yo, now I know it really can be done because the same dude that I've been literally sitting next to,
Right.
studying for months with, he just did it.
Man.
And after he passed, I had to find me another study partner that was actively studying because, well, the CCIE drains so much out of you
Right.
physically and mentally and emotionally, even that once you pass it, it's kind of, you want to breathe and just chill for a minute. And I didn't want to put that pressure on him again. He wanted to get back to his kids and whatnot. So,
Right.
I had to find another study partner, which I did. And they went on to pass a month before I did.
Man, honestly, certifications like that at the CCNA level, it takes, each level has a dedication that you don't realize that it requires until you get to that level. Like I can't tell
Right.
you about the CCNP level. I can't tell you about the CCNA level until you actually get on that journey. I can let you know about it, but when you get to it, it's like, all right, I'm really going to have to set aside some time and really have to dedicate a portion of my life to this,
Right, right.
So,
and that goes back to, you have to be committed. Life happens. And I promise you this, when you say, I'm going to do this, and you're serious about it,
man,
everything is going to happen. And I promise you, it's your job is going to give you projects out the blue that just going to require all of your time. Your
right.
kids are going to get, involved in every activity known to man. They're going to be, the neighborhood rock picker,
Right.
and you got to be there for them to help them pick rocks. Everything's going to happen, good and bad. But again, you're talking to somebody that was going through a divorce,
Right.
that was working 60 hours, and now having to transition to being a single parent. If I can do it,
Facts.
anybody can do it, barring illness and death.
Hey, when that storm is at its worst, that's usually when that daylight is coming. You feel me? I salute you for continuing on that journey and achieving that goal, man. That, like, you are an inspiration for me, and I'm sure many others, bro. Like, I can't thank you enough for coming on today, man. This has been what's up.
For sure, I appreciate the opportunity, man. And I will always love to talk about my journey because when I passed, that's still a feeling professionally that I can't adequately articulate.
Right.
Because I tasted the bitterness of failure. When I started preparing for the collaboration track, tip number 5, I think we're on.
Yes.
You got to choose a vendor that you trust. The vendor I chose is also a mentor of mine. I chose Collab Cert, and at the time there was Internet Work Expert, INE. They had Mark Snow. There was IP Expert. They had Andy Vassar. And then there was Collab Cert, who had Vic Molly. Vic used to be the senior technical instructor at IP Expert when Mark Snow was there before Mark left and went to INE. I like his approach. If you can make it through his British accent, I like his approach to everything. He was able to break the toughest thing down and make it so simple for me to understand. So when he started his own company, uh, you know, I made the commitment that I would stick to one source, and that was his, and Cisco.com, of course, and my years of experience.
Right.
But the reason it was so important to do that, you build a relationship and a rapport that for me was invaluable.
Right.
This man called me the night before my passing lab attempt, and we talked for an hour and a half. And about strategy, about where my head was at. He didn't have to do that.
Nah, yeah, that's
at all.
right.
But he had a vested interest in me passing. He's one of the few people that wasn't doing this for the money.
Right.
Being a trainer, he legitimately wants people to pass. He cares about your growth. And, that was huge. And as I sat back and thought about it, how much more could you do? How much more confidence would you have if not just you, but anybody, if they had that?
I know, man. Hey, bro, I did YouTube for a straight year, and the more my channel grew, the more of a burden I had, because like I genuinely want to help people. And for me, growing larger is harder to help people because I find more value in helping one person one-on-one, giving them my phone number, having a conversation, giving them my time than I do making a video to get 50,000 views. Right, and people saying I helped them. Like if I could sit down with one person and they know that they have support from somebody that they probably don't have around them, like I know exactly what you feel, bro. Because I know when back in the day. But I'll let you go. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, that's good. I'm loving the dialogue. So January of 2015, actually before that, it was October of 2014. I convinced 5 of my coworkers that we need to buy Vic's program, build racks at work, and all start studying to get our CCIE.
Right.
I go have a conversation with my boss and say, hey, I believe that if we come to Collab Cert with this amount of people, they'll give us a discount. If I'm able to secure a discount, can we expense this program? And it was like, if you can get the discount, expense it. So, I called in a favor because one of the people at Collab Cert is like family. So I said, bro, I need, we're going to use you guys exclusively. And what I want is for all 6 of us to be able to say, we passed using Collab Cert.
Right.
That's what I wanted. And they was like, of course, yeah, let's do it. So we start banging it out. Boom, October, boom, we going, we watching the videos, we taking notes, we doing all of this stuff. We actually set up a internal meeting board where, we're meeting, we hold each other accountable. So that's step number 6. Get you an accountability partner, somebody that you have to answer to.
Okay. I like
that. That can be your mentor, but it needs to be somebody that you really don't want to let down, somebody it's going to hurt your feelings if you let them down.
Right.
That became my kids because now I'm still in time from them.
It's going to have to be love in that. It's going to have to be some love in that.
Yeah, because it's sacrifice,
Yes,
what I mean? They got to sacrifice time with their father, all of that stuff. So once we got focused, I said, I'm going balls deep in this. So I saved up some bread and I signed up for a 1 week boot camp with Vic out in California. I convinced my job to pay for my travel if I funded the boot camp. They bought that. I was like, okay, so again, I'd use my back channels. So now I wouldn't necessarily have to pay that full price ticket,
Right.
for the class. But, I'm in the class, and this was the value of someone like Vic. He says, when are you taking your lab? And I had my lab scheduled for while I was going to be out there in San Jose. He was very honest. He said, you're not ready. He said, you're better than the last time we talked, but you're not ready. Spend the $500 to reschedule the lab. Because I was already within that 90-day window.
Right.
So for the people that don't know, once you schedule your lab, once you hit date, you have up until the 90th day before that attempt to reschedule the lab without a penalty. Once you hit day 90 and lower, you cannot reschedule your lab without paying a penalty. So I didn't want to spend $500. So I went and took my lab and failed. And that licked my wounds. That was May 4th of 2015. Now my buddy had just passed the month before. He passed on April 13th. But I failed on May the 4th.
Right.
So Vic told me I wasn't ready, and he was 100% right. I let my ego get in the way. So that's step 6 or 7. Don't let ego get in the way.
Step 7. Don't let the ego get away. Yes, sir.
Do not let ego get in the way. Check your ego at the door. So, after that, I didn't study again until August 1st.
So you took like 3 months off.
Took 3 months off.
This
is the value.
Okay, go ahead. No. I want to hear, because I know if I take, 3 months off, I don't know.
So this is the value of having a mentor. My mentor called me, Vic. He picks up his phone and calls me, and he asks me a very simple question in his very strong British accent. Antonio, what the fuck are you doing? Just that simple. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I started giving him all types of excuses. And he was honest and said, man, there were nothing but excuses. You can pass this test. Then my buddy that works there called me, Mike. Mike said, dude, you're effing lame. He was like, this is not the Antonio that I know. If you quit, like, why did we help you as much as we helped you if you're going to quit? So I recommitted myself, and I said, and actually that was toward the end of July. I said, yo, August 1st, I'm going balls deep.
Right.
From August 1st to November 17th, when I passed, I had an additional 1,000 hours of rack time that I legitimately put in. I took my second 1,000 hours. I took my second attempt, October 15th of 2015. And I left there really thinking I passed. I called Vic like, yo, I got this. And so we're just, thinking about my day that day. I'm like, yo, I got this.
Right.
And then I got that email. And I'm excited. Well, first of all, the email, I couldn't sleep that night. The email didn't come to 3 a.m. When it finally came, I look and I failed. And I look at my score, and I'm trying to do the reverse engineering of the score report, because you don't know. You need 80 points. Right. You don't know what your points are. You can guess based upon you keeping track of your points, but all you get is a percentage in each section from the blueprint.
Right.
So I'm doing I'm doing the percentages and then saying, okay, if this is worth 7%, boom, 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 I don't see how I didn't have 80. Like I couldn't understand it. So
Right.
I went and talked to the proctor. He looks at it, he says, yo, I can't tell you anything, but what I can tell you, reschedule your lab, get in here within 30 days. That's how close you were. Come
Oh
back
man.
within 30 days. So, I licked my wounds and I kept banging it out. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna take this on my birthday because my birthday is November 17th. I was actually that was a Tuesday. I could have taken it that Monday, November 16th,
Right.
because it was 30 days from October 15th. I said, nah, I know I got this. So that's step 8. Schedule your lab for when you know you got it.
Hmm.
Now, how do you know you got it? When you can teach it and when you can look at that blueprint and be honest and say, yo, there's nothing more I can do with this.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did, man. That morning, well, the night before, people have said don't study the night before your lab. I studied for 10 hours the night before my lab. I got 10 hours of rack time. And then Vic called me and we talked for an hour and a half. So that was another hour and a half of study. It was just, just talking about strategy. And this is when I had to rely on my experience. So that's going to be step number 9. Trust your experience.
Trust your experience. Okay.
So I knew that I had a shit ton of experience with troubleshooting, my sweetie. I knew that I had a shit ton of experience with implementations and designs. And the one thing that made the difference of a successful implementation and one that wasn't successful was the test plan.
Hmm.
The what When I was at the partner, it was called an NRFU, a network ready for use plan. We eventually called it a test plan, and that was an actual document where we had to check off what was working and I had to sign it and the customer had to sign it. And that's the one thing I didn't have on my failing attempts. I had a plan for configuring the lab, but I didn't have a plan to actually turn over the lab.
Okay.
You
I
know,
see.
again, I had to look at the lab as a customer,
Right.
and that at the end of these requirements, I have to give them that network document that says, hey, this is good. They can trust me with that.
Right.
So, step number 9, have a plan, not just a
That's
plan
number 10.
on
Have a
taking
plan.
it. Yeah. But you got to have a validation plan, a validation test plan. Have a validation test plan. So you walk in, this is public knowledge, you get 2 pieces of paper. On one piece of paper, I literally wrote out a test plan.
Right.
And, it was mental. So I didn't want to fool around with things that could slow me down.
Hmm.
So I unplugged my phones and turned them all around. I didn't even want to see them. And I went to work configuring like it was a greenfield deployment.
Right.
And I was finished by lunchtime with all of my configuration for the whole entire network, which meant that the rest of the remaining 4 hours I just spent testing, going through my test plan. I found some stuff that that I did wrong, but because I had a valid test plan, I was able to know where I made my mistake, and because it was, just stupid mental mistakes. Went back because that day is stressful. That day, don't let anybody fool you. That day is mad stressful, yo.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I ended up leaving there knowing within my heart, I knew that there was no way I didn't pass.
Right.
Like I knew it. And step 10, be confident.
Okay. Be confident. So that's 11. That's
Okay.
step 11. Be confident. Yes, sir. I wrote them all out. You know what I mean?
I
So we can,
appreciate that.
no problem, man. Be confident. That's important, dog. That's important no
Very
matter what
important.
you're doing. If you're not confident, you know that go with the whole thing with trust your experience for number 9. That go with just everything, you know what I mean, as far as preparing, the whole preparation. If you're not confident, then you probably shouldn't be taking the exam.
Right, exactly. You definitely should. And I've heard. I mean, there are some trains of thoughts out there that says that, some people took the exam because they want to get a look at it. Well, my thinking is, you can go to Cisco.com and get a look at it, because they're not going to test you on something that you can't find in the documentation.
Mm,
So, I mean, you don't have to spend $1,500 to get a look at the lab. You can, you don't have to do that. I mean, if you want to, that's your prerogative.
right,
I could rock with that.
right,
So, you know, we could get technical, but to me, it was so much more than passing the CCIE takes so much more than having technical knowledge. The
right,
technical knowledge will become a byproduct. That's the bonus. Becoming a CCIE was way more. It took way more fortitude than knowledge. It took way more project management skills. It took way more. Uh, Again, like you said, being an active listener.
right,
But you have to be able to know that the person that you're listening to, you can't just think that, oh, these are just some requirements that Cisco came up with. No, this is your customer talking to you.
right, right,
And that's how I looked at it. Cisco.com. I mean, Cisco Systems was my customer in the lab. Is how I viewed it.
right, right,
And to me, that made a difference between all of that. What we've talked about made a difference between not passing and passing. The Having the technical knowledge, of course, you got to have that. Of course, that goes without saying. But it's deeper than that, because there's some really smart people, excuse me, that know a whole lot that didn't pass.
right. True.
So it's more than that. It has to be more than that, or the really smart people that don't pass would pass.
Right, right. Yeah. It requires so much. I think one thing about certifications and that employers like is the fact that you are able, especially when you self-study, that you're able to learn, that you care about your education and self-improvement, but also that you are able to manage yourself to be able to achieve a goal like that. Because
Yeah.
like you said, it requires, I mean, if we go through all 11 of these steps, you have to be committed. You got to know how to learn. You got to get a schedule. You got to form accountability partners and a study partner. So you got to collaborate. You got to choose a vendor. Back to accountability partners. You don't have an ego because you move that out the way.
Yeah.
You scheduled the lab when you were confident enough to take it. You trusted your experience. You had a plan, and you're confident. So they know that when it come down to it, you're not going to back down. You're not going to freeze up. You're going to trust your abilities to be able to fix those routes.
Right. And it's a big difference between being confident and being arrogant.
Right.
At Cisco Live, I got a chance to see Vic for the first time since 2015. And he asked me, how has my life changed since becoming a CCIE? Of course, financially, things have changed. But now when I meet with a customer, when I speak, I'm confident, but it's not from a place of, hey, I'm a CCIE, you need to listen to me. No, it's never that. It's from a place of, I've failed enough and made enough mistakes to know how not to do it. I may not know the right way to do it, but I absolutely know how not to do it.
Right.
Remember the cleaning product Formula 409?
Yeah, actually, I remember 409.
Okay. It's called Formula 409 because the dude failed 408 times making it. He got it right the 409th time.
I did not know that, bro. That's crazy.
That's why they called it Formula 409.
Man,
So, my confidence keeps me humble.
right.
I'm able to, having the CCIE is great. And when I meet with a customer, that gives me a sense of credibility. And so when I talk now, they listen more so than ever before,
Yes, sir.
because I got that stamp with me that says that, hey, at the very least, I did something to get this,
Right,
so I know something.
right.
But I'm smart enough and humble enough to know that now the real learning starts.
Yes, sir.
And that was one of the things that changed, not changed. That's one of the doors that opened for me when I passed, was that now, you know, I don't have to, I don't have to prove anything now. See,
Right,
before at work, whether it was at Verizon to Cisco, I got something to prove. I need to prove that I deserve to be in second level. I need to prove that, I deserve to be in advanced services at Cisco. Now I've learned I really don't have to prove anything now.
right, right.
It's nothing left to prove. That for me keeps me humble. I'm able to say, you know what, hey, I don't know the answer to that, but I will get you the answer. Give
Man,
me a few days to do some research. And you wouldn't believe how much respect that earns.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, Shout out to Marty Nicholson. I had a conversation with him. He's actually from Ohio. The last time I went home, and we were talking about my career and what I should do next. And he was talking about becoming the GOAT. And,
Uh,
and so, in terms of what you just said, basically, you became the GOAT. You got the CCIE. Now you the GOAT. You have nothing less to prove. You just doing it for the love, and you know what I mean. You just show
yeah,
up. You just show up.
yeah. It's funny you say that because the young man that I mentored that passed his CCIE collaboration recently. He and I have been talking about what's next, and we both decided that we're going to go after the CCIE security. But before we determined that track, one of the things that we discussed was we got the CCIE in our domain that we work in primarily. That's kind of like we had to do that.
Right,
Now we get to have fun. Now we get to choose a track just for the hell of it.
right,
Like, what don't I know? I don't know security. I don't know data center. And it was like, well, I could build a security lab easier than a data center lab.
right.
Well, all right, forget it. Let's do security. I mean, it's the pressure's gone now. Like, of course, we're going to always have that pressure of we want to pass because nobody's going to embark upon this journey just to do it.
Right.
We want to pass, but now the practice is I get to learn it just to have fun with it. I don't have to. I don't feel like my job is on the line. I don't feel like I need to prove myself in this arena. I don't work with security often, so this now I legitimately get to learn, and I'm gonna start from the CCNA. I'm reading the CCNA security book right now.
Me too. Yes, sir.
So yeah, we can help each other with that.
Hey, accountability partner.
Facts,
What's good?
facts. I'm with it. I'm with it. But
Hey, I do have a question.
yeah.
I got a ton of questions, bro.
Okay, let's get to it.
But I know we have to get to Cisco Live. But here's my question: collaboration, that track itself. Do you recommend someone go down that track with the way I would say collaboration is now, as far as phones, voice, video, everything that collaboration is? Do you recommend that? Is
Well,
there? What I'm saying is how high is the demand?
well, it's gonna look at it this way: it's going to always be a need to communicate.
Right.
Period. Whether you're doing it with a desk phone or a soft phone or a mobile phone or video endpoints, there's going to always be a need to communicate. So there's going to always be a demand for it. I will absolutely tell people this: when it comes to getting certifications, especially your CCIE, I think that the track you should go down first is whatever you deal with the most.
Mm.
That's going to give you the most exposure to it.
Right. I agree.
Then the next thing I recommend that you base it on is, where do your interests lie?
Okay.
You know, if you don't have much of an interest in something, that you giving your all is not really going to happen.
Right.
It's going to feel like a chore. So when the storms come that we talked about, it's going to be easy to just say, "Oh, forget it."
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't got time for that. And then whichever track is going to give you, whichever track you can go down that's not going to require a huge financial investment from you up front. Because think about it, most of us are doing self-study.
Right.
So, you got to have, your hashtag that I love, lab every day. How are you going to lab every day with data center unless you rent expensive tokens from somewhere, if you don't have access to data center equipment? You know what I mean? So you got to, or, especially if you don't work on data center stuff every day.
Right.
So that's how I kind of see that.
Hey, that's my struggle, man. Because well, a lot of people don't realize it. I'm in the Cisco lane, but I'm a system administrator. I actually started out on Windows. I got a CCNP, but my majority of my career has been on servers. And you know what I mean? A lot of times I learn information to stay relevant. And then also because I know where I want to be, although I'm not there yet, I'm continuously learning and preparing, because I know when that opportunity comes, it's on.
Right.
It's on. But if it never happens, if this is like my journey, YouTube or whatever, helping people get in an IT, if that becomes my new journey, I'm at peace with that too.
Right.
Like for me, I'm good either way.
Right. Right.
You just, to me, you got to be satisfied with life and what life gives you, and just do the best you can.
Absolutely, without question. And a lot of people don't have that, so it's a blessing that you do have that type of peace that you can rely on, man. Because this journey is not, easy, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Because the technology changes so often, man. You got to constantly. There's a need to constantly stay relevant. You got to, constantly prove. Not prove yourself, but you got to constantly stay up to date. Now that is one of the fun things I get to do now. Because I don't have to study to pass something. I can just learn something new. That's like, what's coming down the pipe. And that was one of the great things about going to Cisco Live. I realized that I've been living in a bubble, just nothing but collaboration stuff, just in a pure effing bubble. But going to Cisco Live, and this is my very first one, and seeing the direction that the company is going, like, oh, word, I didn't know we had a partnership with Google Cloud. Wow. I didn't know that.
Right.
I didn't know what that meant. Once I heard it, like, okay, what that mean? But hearing the Google Cloud CEO talk, I'm like, oh, okay. So we doing that now. That's what's up. Okay, and now I can see, from a strategy standpoint, what the company is doing, and how we moving and the different directions that we're going in.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
So is it, when you say a partnership with Google Cloud, is Cisco the data center, basically?
I still don't have all the info on it.
Okay.
I know that,
because let me ask you this: working for Cisco, and a lot of people don't realize this, Cisco is a software company, correct?
Well, so it's funny because we was once thought to be a hardware company,
Right.
right?
Right.
We provided, boxes, routers, and switches. That transition to, I can see how some people would wonder, well, are we software company now with software defined networking with SDN and all of that stuff? And we provide, we're known for our Cisco software and these little imperfections called bugs. We're known for that. Uh, I, this isn't coming from corporate or anything like that. This is Antonio's own views.
Right.
I view us as a services company.
Which yeah, I agree, because Dell, HP, pretty much all those companies, IBM are services companies now, so I could see that.
Yeah. I view us as a services company and that's what we do. We provide services and solutions. We can do that with hardware and software and most of all our people.
Right. Speaking of people, I heard that Cisco is large enough to hire every CCIE, that every person that is a CCIE basically could go work for Cisco. How true is
Let
that?
me see. I think, well, okay, so when it comes to the CCIE numbers, there's active CCIEs and then people that used to be CCIEs or let them expire and all of that. So you can't really find although the CCIE numbers have gone up to, I think I saw today that somebody passed their number.
60,000 or something.
Oh, it's up to 60. I thought I saw 59,000. Okay, so 60,000. There are not 60,000 active CCIEs. Some people have died. Some people have let their certifications go and all of that stuff.
Why die got to be first, though?
Because you know what? CCIE number 1025 or 1026 recently did pass within the past couple of years. So that's just what jumped out at me.
Rest in peace to them. Rest in peace to them.
People don't know this, but the CCIEs, actually, the CCIE didn't start at number 1. It started at 1024, and that wasn't a person. That was the lab room in San Jose. So the very first person, I believe, was Terry Vinson, and I believe he was 1025. And then there was somebody else that was 1026 and just went on from there. But so if we remove 1,000 from the 60,000, that's 59,000. Then if we remove, I think at any given time we probably have 40,000 active CCIEs.
Okay.
And again, this is my own opinion, just doing the search for the numbers, because today I went looking for how many CCIE collaboration are out there.
Right.
Because I want to know, I mean, that does give me a little something to, I can be like, hey, I'm one of 3,000.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But the numbers that I found, I can't verify. But Cisco is extremely large, and I would say that it's not inaccurate to think that we could hire every CCIE that's out there.
Right.
Cisco is an extremely large company. I'll put it to you this way. There's probably about 20 to 25,000 people that come to Cisco Live in the US. On Wednesday, the Wednesday of every Cisco Live is the customer appreciation event. So to put it in perspective, the customer appreciation event was at Universal Studios.
Okay.
Everybody's entrance was paid for. You had to just go pick up your bracelet.
Right.
The entry fee was paid for. One side of the park was shut down just for Cisco Live.
Man.
Like, regular people got turned away. Like, no, this is if you don't have the bracelet, you can't come over here. All of the food and drinks, water, pop or soda, beer and wine, all you can eat and drink.
They had a Henny on deck?
They did not have the Henny, thank God. But that was for a minimum of 20,000 people.
Right. That's crazy.
put that into like, I don't even want I don't even want to try to understand that.
Right.
You know,
That's crazy, man. I really do want to go to Cisco Live. One of my coworkers and mentors and just all around great people went, I believe, 2 years ago when it was in what, Vegas?
yes.
Yeah, when it was in Vegas. And I was like, man, I want to go, but I didn't want to come out of pocket. And he was telling me about, he was in some room and it was Internet of Things, but the floor was Internet of Things. Did you see any like crazy tech things while you were there that was involved in like IoT?
Bro, it's so much. It's so it was at the Orlando Convention Center. Now, this convention center took up a whole city block almost.
Hmm.
And the whole entire thing was just technology that blows your mind.
Man.
I mean, it's indescribable.
Right.
You know, it's first. Let me take a step back. You gotta go. So one of the things that I committed to after I passed my lab was this: that I would not rely on a company to make sure I got trained. I would fund my own training because that was for me and my career.
Right.
And I would always go to Cisco Live, no matter what, if I could help it.
Right.
So I got certified November 17th of 2015. Cisco Live had already passed. 2016, I had something come up. 2017, I had something come up.
Right.
But if we don't take control of our own career,
Hmm.
and I see this a lot with people that I've worked with, you know, they're relying on their job to send them to training. They're relying on their job to, get them to the next level. And I did that. That was me. And I got nowhere.
Right. Right.
So I legitimately had to do what an engineer does. I had to break it down to the very least common denominator that I could. Like, if this Cisco Live ticket is $2,000, how much do I need to save every pay period to get my ticket?
Right.
So from now into next June, if you wait until June to buy your ticket, that's $76 a pay period.
Yeah, 26 pay periods. Yes, sir.
$76 a pay period. Okay, I could do that.
Right.
You know, uh, I could make the sacrifice of not eating out. I love bourbon, and everywhere I go, I get me a new, a bourbon that I can't find here in North Carolina. I love going out to eat. I love going to eat sushi and drink hot sake.
Oh man, me too, bro. Yeah.
But I didn't do it.
Right.
Every time I wanted to, I was like, no, I got to get the live.
Uh,
I knew that I don't get it twisted that I was gonna ask my job to get me there.
right.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ask,
Yes, sir.
but you ain't supposed to rely on that.
Right. Right.
So if you can make it happen, it's going to be in San Diego next year, next June 9th through the 13th.
Okay.
If you can make it happen, do it. Absolutely do it. This is, I think, is mandatory for the survival of our own careers.
Hmm.
If we're going to remain doing Cisco type stuff, like, I mean, VMware has VMworld. The people that are strictly VMware, absolutely go to VMworld. What I'm saying is, whatever your domain is, find a conference. Find not a conference, find the conference.
Right.
Microsoft has one. So if a person is heavily into Microsoft, Go to Microsoft's conference. Don't hesitate and sign up for the classes. If you're in Microsoft, you need to, well, they don't do TechNet anymore, but whatever they do now that's similar to TechNet,
Right.
I think is visual. Matter of fact, I have it. It's visual something. Visual Studios. Sign up for it. Play with the software. If you're in VMware, go to VMworld. You have to. You have to know what else is going on in the industry if you want to continue to grow in the industry.
Right.
And I personally believe that it's up to every last one of us that's in this industry to do our part to grow the industry. And you're doing a great job of it with your YouTube channel and what you do on social media. So that's definitely one of the ways to grow the industry. So this isn't necessarily for you. This is for everybody else that's going to watch this or are watching this. Do your part to help grow the industry. And part of that is going to the conferences.
Right. Show up.
Yes, you got to show up.
Show up and represent.
And you got to meet people, and I did that. I met Neil Moore. This dude has 8 CCIEs, and I actually stalked him. I started live tweeting as I was stalking him. It was crazy. And
is he like the only one with 8 CCIEs?
No, there's a fella, I forgot his name, that has 9.
Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a lot of people that have more than one. I met a young lady at the IE party that Vic helped her get her collaboration CCIE, but she has 4 CCIEs. That was inspiring because, I haven't seen that a lot where, there's not a lot of people that have 4 CCIEs. And there's definitely not a lot of women that have 4 CCIEs. So that was inspiring. And she's going for her 5th. She was trying to decide, is she going to do data center or wireless? And I was just still floored at like, yo, you got 4. Like, I know what it took to get 1.
Yeah, I met a conversation, Mr. Bates. Did you see the lab I posted, the home lab that I posted on Twitter? So the guy that lab that is, his name is Dennis Bates. Awesome brother. He has 2 CCIEs. And what he told me is that once you get 1 CCIE, all you do for the rest of your career is take CCIEs. you don't see a CCIE with a CCNA. Like now, all you do is study for another CCIE.
That is true.
And I was like, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
What I've heard, one of the accountability partners that I had, I ran into at Cisco Live. His name is James Key. I'm so grateful for this brother, man. I saw that he had a 2nd CCIE. He did route and switch, and he was like, "Yo, Antonio, honestly, the 2nd one is easier than the 1st." He's like, all the pressure's gone. Like, now just go have fun. It is easier. But yeah, man, it's my homie that I helped. We was trying to decide on the track. He looked at me like I was crazy today when I said I'm gonna do the CCNA. He was like, "What?" But I was like, "Yeah, I want to build because security. I don't know, like that's out of my realm.
Yeah, if you don't do it, you don't know it. So, if you don't do it, if you're in large organizations, you don't do it. You're not touching the firewall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't have to do that.
So I said, you know what? I'm because what I want to do, I didn't do a great job of bringing other people along on the journey with me when I got my collaboration. So this time I want to bring the rest of the world along the journey with me. I'm gonna start my blog back up again, and I'm gonna document it all, whether it be with blogging or doing video blogs of, hey, y'all take this journey with me, and we all gonna pass this joint.
Hey man, that for me, I'm gonna be totally honest. That's so hard for me to do with everything I got going on in my life. Like, I really want to do this with the CCNA security, but I may be studying at 11 o'clock at night after I done edited videos, or, you know, after I get done studying, now I'm editing videos to help somebody, or I'm doing a live session with somebody one-on-one. And it's like, if you do that, bro, I'm gonna help you get out there and get your word out there. Just let me know, bro. Cause you know what I'm saying? But
we can definitely help each other, man.
Facts. Yo, some of the people you met, I saw you ran into Network Chuck while you was out there.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I've been following his YouTube channel for a minute.
Right.
I saw that he, you know, recently started over at CBT Nuggets and all of that. And it's funny, it was on a post that me and you was communicating on, and a very smart young lady named Tiffany had said, you know, that she knows or that she follows Network Chuck and all of that. As soon as she said that, I see him. Like we're literally walking in the bathroom together, and I'm like, I'm not about to talk to this dude in the bathroom because, you know, that's breaking all types of man laws right there. So, you know, we handle business, whatever. We both walk out, and I said, "Hey, Chuck." He was like, "Yes, sir." I said, "Man, listen, I don't want to be that weird guy, but yo, you know, I fucks with you, dog. Can I get a picture?" And he was like, "Yeah, come on." So, you know, we took the picture or whatever, and he was like, "Yeah, when you post it, I'll follow you." I was like, "Word?" All right. So, you know, and it was funny because he was the first one that I actually did take a picture with.
Right.
And, you know, there was other people that I've been wanting to take a picture with. You know, like I said, I wanted to, it's a young lady on Twitter named Amy Engineer. I wanted to, her blogs, everything about her is exceptional, bro. She's super intelligent and funny. Like, if you need a good laugh, go follow Amy Engineer. So I was like, I got to find her. Catherine McNamara, I wanted to find
to bring her up, man. She's extremely smart, and the stuff like her blog on security, like she's extremely smart, man. Shout out to her.
Yo, listen, it's the last day, and we walk past each other, and I just speak. I'm like, "Hey, Kat." She's like, "Hey," and she's looking at me like, "I don't know him. I don't think." And, you know, I didn't want to be that weird guy again because actually I was on the hunt for looking for Amy. So, you know, because again, when I was looking for Neil, I was live tweeting that, and the Cisco Live people was loving it. It was like, "Yo, you're really live tweeting this. Keep it going." Right. So I was like, "Yo, I'm trying to find Amy." And then I was like, you know what? I've been really wanting to meet Kat. So I took off running down the hall. And I'm out of breath when I catch up to her. I'm like, "Yo, excuse me. I know this is, I hate to be the weird guy, but I've been following you. Can I please get a picture?" So we take a picture or whatever. And we just start talking. And she tells me about this one area that they won't let Cisco employees in. I'm like, "Oh no, that's not happening. We gonna break in there." So, you know, we kind of sneak into this one area, because she wanted to get a T-shirt, and they were being T-shirt Nazis in there. They was like, "No, these are for customers, no." So we sneak in there, and we leave T-shirt up and everything, man. It was crazy. We both leave with like 2 T-shirts and a hat.
Yo, I was watching your tweets, man. I was at the gig, like, man, bro was having so much fun. Like, you was making my day, man. Salute, bro. You was out there truly representing, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, man, it was an amazing time, man. And again, dude, you get to meet the people that know the stuff. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, to be able to actually talk to them and get a question answered, and everybody is helpful. Right. Like, they want to do it. Like, they're happy to talk to you. You know, I met Scott Morris. So, you know, remember the when you started when you posted a picture of the lab, right? Well, his lab is legendary. You know, people have known about his lab. You know, legend has it that it was over $1 billion lab. I mean, it looks like a data center.
For real? I'm gonna have to Google that, bro.
Oh, you gotta look at Google Scott Morris CCIE lab. It's It's ridiculous. So I see him and I'm like, yo, that's Scott. And again, I'm like, man, no, I'm not about to go talk to him. But finally, I got up enough. The Cisco Live social media people hyped me up, and now there's like, oh, he's harmless. He's not gonna, he's one of the nicest guys. And sure enough, man, this dude was so nice. And I'm thinking like, yo, you're one of the goats. Like when I first started studying, he was out on blog posts and all these other websites, and you just knew that he knew his stuff like inside and out. And it was like, man, this dude is actually mad cool. Like these people really don't mind talking to you. I mean, it's like you're keeping them from having to deal with other stuff. So they looking for it. Like, oh, you want to talk to me? Yeah, let's do it. And it's like, that was amazing to me because sometimes people can be like, why are you talking to me?
Facts.
But man, everybody I met, Neil took his lanyard off with all of his 16 inches worth of designations, all 8 of his CCIE ribbons and all that. He took it off and put it on me. I didn't ask him to do it. He was like, hey, matter of fact, here. Well, he takes it off, wraps it around my neck, and I'm just like, that's what's up. Excuse me.
Hey, man.
But, aside from it being a good time and having fun, you learn a lot, bro. You learn a heck of a lot, man.
Right.
And for me, Cisco Live gave me an opportunity to see the bigger picture, to not just stay in my domain and be siloed with where things are with collaboration, but to see where the industry is and to see, you get a chance to talk to your partners as well as other customers and how they see Cisco and how they see the industry. So, you get to have a wider view of things. And, I think that's necessary to keep growing the networking community.
Facts. So you built a lot of relationships while you was out there.
Absolutely.
Man,
absolutely.
That's what's up. So to kind of, I guess, bring this all together, man, what would you tell someone that's looking to get into networking or just IT in general, right, in 2018?
First thing I would tell them is exactly what I told my friend, to go to your YouTube page and start watching your videos. That ain't, they ain't me trying to hype you up or sell anything. Like, again, before me and you ever spoke to each other, I put one of my best friends onto your videos. So I would tell anyone else the same thing. Go watch your videos.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Go watch Chuck's videos. Then hit the library, not the library, hit the bookstore. Go grab one of the books and just start reading it. Don't buy it yet. Start reading one of the books.
Hey, I'm gonna let you keep talking. I'm gonna go get a book and ask you if you got it. Go ahead, keep talking, bro. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So go get, go to the bookstore, and see if you want to start with Microsoft. See if you want to start with Cisco. See if you want to start with CompTIA. But get a book. You don't have to buy it. Go sit down and start reading it and see if something piques your interest. If it does, now you know the lane that you kind of want to get started in and get started. It's okay to have questions. Start, bring your notebook and start writing some stuff down, writing questions down. Start, taking notes. What book is that?
Hold on. I've been meaning to talk about this book for a minute, but this is Network Warrior.
I do not have that particular book.
Oh my goodness, bro.
That's an O'Reilly book, right?
Yeah. Everything you need to know that the CCNA didn't tell you.
Oh.
Like this book right here, bro, from QoS to MPLS to how to basically design a network. But I'm gonna give you, bro, this book right here is it's one of the best networking books I've seen that isn't trying to teach you how to get certified. It's actually teaching you networking.
You know what? You just gave me an idea. Then I want to do this, man, because you have a huge following, and I think you're an asset to the community. I'm gonna personally buy that book and give it to somebody, one of your followers that's trying to get into networking, that actually watches our live. I'm gonna randomly pick one of the ones that comments on this
In the chat right now.
in the chat, that says, you know what, I'm gonna give them 24 hours.
Okay.
Give them 24 hours. Within 24 hours, I'm gonna go back and look at the chat. Or you know what? What about on Twitter? Let's figure out how to do this.
Okay, so we'll talk about it, and then maybe we'll tweet something out. It's up to you, man. I'll let you, however you want to give, however you want to do it. Just let me know.
So after this, let's
Hey,
retweet.
you buy one, I'll buy one. I'll match.
Even better.
So we'll give away two.
So let's retweet the link out to this, and we'll pick.
They're gonna have to get to this point in the video to know we even doing this. How about that? So if you're watching this live stream now, hit us on Twitter. His Twitter is in the description. Mine is at both of us. Let us know hashtag Network Warrior that you want the book. How about that?
Bet. Yep.
And then we're gonna pick two people. So hashtag, I'm gonna show the book again. At both of us on Twitter, follow both of us at both of us on Twitter, hashtag Network Warrior. We're gonna pick two people and we're gonna send you this book.
Yep. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I love that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, man. That's dope of you to even think of that. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. What other questions you got?
Man, look, bro, we'll be here all night, man. Like this is, to me, I got this thing right now, that IT career sauce. I feel like we done gave some people some real sauce in the recipe to not only get their foot in the door in networking, but also to move up that ladder and how to approach getting that CCIE and just, how to build network and community. You know what I mean? And not be that guy that's arrogant.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And working at Cisco taught me that, because I'm around, like I said, I'm around people that they wrote the book. Some of them created the technology. So, you can't be arrogant when you got people like that running around. And when you meet those people and they're mad cool and they're, humble, you begin to see that, you know what, man, there's really no place in this industry for that.
Facts.
Because everybody doesn't know everything. I met Paul. One of my favorite people in the world in this industry is Paul Giroux. He is the SIP guru and mad cool, like just super cool. And you can ask him anything and he's happy to talk to you. Man. So, when you run into people like that, man, it's easy to be like, all right, we good.
Yo, so I'm gonna ask you this one last question before we wrap it up. Working in an environment in Cisco, a large corporation like that, how do you move up? With it being so many teams, so many different domains, how would you focus in an environment like that because one of the things I found, if you work from Cisco, you can work anywhere.
That is true. Cisco is great about wanting to keep good talent.
Okay.
So one of the things that they are known for is that if you want to go do something different, they support that, because they'd rather you go to a different department than to leave the company.
That's so dope, man. That is so dope.
So we have meetings with our management, and you tell your manager, hey, I want to do this. And your manager is like, okay, we'll come up with a plan to how we can help you do that. So to move up, you really just got to take control of your own career. I have a career mentor as well as a technical mentor. My career mentor, I talk to about that very question. How do I move up? And it's, okay, well, go take these internal classes on business acumen. Go take these internal classes on leadership. Go do this. Add this to your repertoire. Add this. Get involved with this group. Get involved with that group. I occasionally go to the Cisco campus and just introduce myself to people. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what do you do? Oh, yeah. I'm a network consultant. Oh, yeah, what to that technology? And just extend yourself.
Right.
And let it be known what you want. And then, of course, everyone. I don't want to give off the false sense of euphoria that everyone is going to be for you, because of course you got personalities, but I can say that by and large, the culture at Cisco is we're going to do what we can to help you grow.
Right.
It's all about innovation and collaboration,
That's dope, man. A company that invests in their people is a company that's going places.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that is definitely what's up, bro. Hey, man. Fam, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Do you want to let people know how to get at you? You know what I mean? Shit.
Yeah.
I'll put all your information in the description, but if you know what I mean, just want to let them know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. First and foremost, thanks for even extending the opportunity. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you and what you're doing for the community. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay encouraged. I'm sure that me and you are going to be talking, doing some one-on-one about, other things going forward. So looking forward to that. If people want to get in touch with me, I'm on Twitter as AmpQuest, AMP_Quest. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Antonio McCarver is my government name. So you can reach out that way. And DM me on Twitter if you want to, or just at me, and we can go ahead and start collaborating and communicating.
Yes, sir. Nas, did you get it?
Is it? So I'm mad right now because I can't find it anywhere. It's not on iTunes. It's not on Apple Music, and it's not on.
Spotify.
It's not on Tidal, and I don't have Spotify. It's nowhere right now. I don't know what they're doing. I think they're waiting until midnight, which is only aggravating me because everything that I keep hearing about this new Nas is incredible. All right, real quick before we go, are we calling him Pusha T or Pusha Thanos?
Oh man, bro, that whole situation is just. You know how you pick on that little guy, and you see somebody pick on somebody they know they can get, because Drake didn't respond back to Kendrick. He didn't respond back to Diddy when he stole on him. But he
didn't respond back to Cole. He didn't respond back to Big Sean.
Right. So he responds back to Pusha T thinking, oh man, this is lunch. And he got 8.
Got Cole out the frame.
It was so bad. I told my wife, I'm like, babe, Diddy is going to step in. Drake is not going to respond, because you don't put out a diss track like that if you don't have something else that's even better than that. Bro. So I'm like, for Jay Prince to step in, bro, Jay Prince don't never do interviews.
Never. In 40 years, I've never heard him do an interview. Bruh. But when Pusha at the end of the story of Adonais, when he said, "Oh, you mad, huh? I want to see what it's like when you get angry. It's gonna be a surgical summer." When he said that, I said, "Oh, that boy ain't done.
He not done,
he got
bro.
Something else. He got something else."
You can ask my wife. I was like, Drake is not going to respond. She was like, Drake is going to come. I'm like, no, he's not. He's not. It's not going to be good for him if he do.
Oh no, it was going to be career ending if he did. It was definitely going to be career ending, man. And it's like, yo, if I was Drake, I would have just been like, hey, multiple sclerosis is a serious thing, and my friend has it, and you know what, this went a little too far, and
Hey man, I was hoping he would reply, but deep down inside, I knew he wouldn't.
See, I was really hoping he would, because I want to know what else Pusha has. That's the only reason why I want him to respond. I'm selfish like that.
Oh, man.
That Joker said I'm selfish. I want all of the curses.
He went in, bro. Like,
Yes,
oh my goodness, he went. I always had respect for Pusha.
Me too.
Him and no malice, but bruh, that right
the boys
there.
from Virginia is legit, boy.
That's ether. That's ether.
Yeah, that's the new ether. Yeah,
the new ether. I mean, what's her name? I can't even think of her name.
Remy Ma.
Remy Ma. I was like, okay, Remy Ma came with bars. Like that was heat. But this right here, bro.
It was so methodical. Like when Drake did Two Birds, One Stone, I said, oh, huh. So when I heard Infrared, I said, oh, okay, it's gonna be all right. But Push did he did Infrared already having what he had on Drake. He did Infrared knowing that Drake would respond.
He baited him.
He knew he baited him, and Drake bit. Oh,
hey,
ego. You gotta kill the ego.
Not only
Drake
ego,
gotta kill his ego.
Not only ego, but when you said a plan, like that is a plan that he had on the whiteboard that he been plotting for months. Yeah, he probably even brought Kanye in, like, yo, let's get him this Adidas deal.
Like, bro, I mean, all of that I'm thinking about, like, yo, like, yeah, make sure he get that deal. Yeah. Oh my Lord.
He just back like, look.
Drake, you know what? Drake messed up. He did an interview years ago and said if somebody diss him, he'll never respond. He should have never responded to Meek Mill because he could always say, I don't respond to people that diss me. But he got the big head, he thought that he hurt Meek real bad. Right. He was going, that back to back was nominated for a Grammy and all of that. And back to back was hard. Man, back to back was hard.
It's the first diss record that I ever heard, like, in corporate America. They playing it, you know what I'm saying? They playing it everywhere, bro. Like,
everywhere.
I've never heard a diss record get that much play outside of the hood.
Right. But that gave him a false sense of security. Like, that ego got like this. Like, and like you said, he probably looked at Pusha like he ain't on my level because he tried to mention money in the Duppy freestyle. And he was mentioning money, and it's like, come on, man. Like, don't nobody want to hear that.
Somebody always got more money than you, bro. Like, yeah, that's you can't come around here talking that, man. That's just gonna make somebody come after you. You start talking that money talk, somebody gonna come get you. And somebody came and got him.
Man, tore his ass off the frame.
Yes, sir. Hey, so how do you feel about Jay-Z, Biggie, Pac when it comes to hip hop? Nas, who's your favorite?
So I love Big. Big was an amazing storyteller. Right. I hate that his body of work was so small.
Man, it's sad, man.
I love Pac.
Right.
But I love the conscious Pac, not the rah-rah Pac. I love the Brenda's Got a Baby Pac, the Trapped Pac, the Me Against the World Pac, the Keep Your Head Up Pac. Right. I didn't, I still don't get it twisted. I was still bumping the rah-rah Pac, the hit 'em up Pac. I was still bumping them.
A Rose from Concrete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nas lyrically is, I love Nas and I love Jay. I can't, if I'm being asked who's the GOAT, I'm going with LL Cool J though.
That's man, I wouldn't expect you to say that. Like, you took it, because I want to hear why. Okay. I want to hear why.
Well, for one, LL Cool J for decades, not a decade, not 2 decades. We're talking 3 decades has been consistent.
Right.
It's not all about sales. We got confused with in hip hop. We got confused with saying, well, who sold more than who?
Right.
Nah. There's a reason why still after 3 decades people don't disrespect LL Cool J.
Right.
Because if you want to get your lunch taken from you, then go ahead and do that. We saw what he did to cannabis. We saw what he did to, he got at Jay-Z and Jay didn't want those problems.
Right.
So, when I think about the greatest of all time, who's been doing it consistent? Like Jay has a deep catalog. I'll give him that.
Right.
But he hasn't done for the culture what L has done consistently for 3 decades. We're talking 30 years by himself.
Out of his basement, bruh. A lot of people don't know that he started music in the basement. When people wasn't doing that, he had a radio station in the basement.
In the basement, his mom bought him a drum machine, and he was making. He did that. I Need a Beat. He did that.
I really got respect for L, man, and I wouldn't have thought you said that, but I understand it. Like, because facts, he's done it not only on the radio, not only in the streets, not only as an MC, but also he took it to TV.
Yeah,
He took it to movies. You know what I'm saying?
And another thing that people forget, a lot of these drug dealers that these rappers rap about, they, LL was with them. He wasn't selling drugs. He was with them. He had their respect. They're like, yo, nah, he's the God. He with us.
Right. Facts.
So the things that y'all rap about doing, he was doing.
Right.
Like he's the first one that could rap about having all the money and all the girls and all of the champagne.
And he stayed married while doing it.
Right. He was 16 and doing it. If we really want to talk about it. So,
Yeah. I respect that, bro.
I'm going to say L. I'm going to say Scarface is next. The 4 that we named, they're my top 10.
Scarface, man. That's
lyrically,
the South. That's the South.
Lyrically, there's only 2 people that I put above Scarface from a lyrical standpoint, and that's Eminem and Andre 3000. Or Eminem, Andre 3000, and maybe Reggie Noble, Redman.
So you don't put Nas up there. You don't put Rakim up there.
You know what? So the struggle I have with Rakim, because Rakim his flow was impeccable.
Right.
And his content, you realize that man didn't curse. But his catalog is too small.
Yeah, okay. But Nas was what, 15 when he did what is it? His first one, what's the first one?
Illmatic?
Illmatic.
No.
He's 15 when he did Illmatic.
No, he was 15 when he did Live at the Barbecue or something like that.
I thought he was 15 when he did Illmatic.
Illmatic, I think he was like 18.
19,
something like that. 18.
Regardless, 19. Though, bro.
Yeah, to be a teenager again, LL style. Lyrically, okay, so here's why. So Nas is super dope, and when he put himself as the gun on It Was Written.
What is it? It's is it I Am, or what's the name of it? Dang. I want to say Gun Draws, but that's not it.
Nah, I'm looking it up right now.
I Am. Gun Song.
Was it? Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah,
But sometimes Nas go too deep for me. Like, I don't get high, so I don't understand where he's going. Like, I don't, he sometimes it's like, well, I gotta listen and listen and listen just to even catch what he's saying.
yeah. I gave you
Whereas with
power.
I gave you power.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I gave you power. I made you buck wild. I even took your man style. Hey, man, look, I gave you power. It's fire.
Fire. But I really you really can't put, like basketball, you can't really know who's the GOAT. Uh because each generation is different and whatnot, man. But
Yeah. Somebody said Big L. Big L with Children on the Corn. Big
yeah,
L with Children on the Corn with Cameron Mace.
with Cameron Mace
Mace and
and
Big L.
it was another cat too, rest in peace. I can't remember his name. Matter of fact, Cameron was just bigging him up yesterday on Instagram. Music is my thing. I can talk about that all night. And I got a studio upstairs in my office. Music is my thing.
Me too, bro. Me too.
Yeah. I saw the tat. I got a music tat myself.
I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you.
So yeah, music is my thing, man.
Cool, man. Hey, bro, we're gonna have to do this again, man. And
Yeah, for sure.
Talk hip hop and talk culture. You feel me?
Hey, it's whatever, brother. Let's do it. Let's make it happen, man.
Yes, sir, man. Well, hey, fam, you enjoy your weekend with your family.
Thank
You
you. I
have a
appreciate
happy
it.
Father's Day, and
Same to you.
I wish you much more continued success, bro. And I'm praying for you. You need something from me, let me know.
For sure. And the same to you, brother.
Yeah.
Each one teach one.
No doubt. Hey, but for everybody, hashtag Network Warrior at both of us on Twitter, and we're gonna give out 2 books.
For
We'll
sure.
catch y'all. All right.
All right,
Peace.
Sam. Peace.
Yep.